moral, environmental, and legal issues. Honestly, why is it so hard to just fucking pay artists? First illustrators and voice actors, and now animators. Huh. Hmm. Hmm. Don't get me wrong, it's very impressive, but at its current level of tech, it's really not replacing animators. Don't get me wrong, it's very impressive, but at its current level of tech, it's really not replacing animators. This glorified copy and ship machine is lacking, a little creativity for one. Adaptability. Presence. And intention. Believe it or not, I'm not completely opposed to the general use of AI. Putting aside the extremely unethical means of training most generative models, the idea of AI sounds great. Do boring things so human can do fun thing. But the problem is it's doing fucking everything. Don't get me wrong, a lot of AI visuals are pretty fucking dope. Corridor Cruise Rock Paper Scissors is an interesting proof of concept using AI to make their own anime. It's a bit wonky, but you know, it has a style of its own. Studio Ghibli AI situation is fucking crazy, and at first glance, it's pretty spot on. But it's not perfect, and definitely not ethical. Although I can't lie, seeing realistic Bloodborne and Elden Ring tickles my little monkey brain in funny ways. Here's quite an awe-inspiring collection of early AI images which I especially enjoy. Honestly, quite stunning. When these first surfaced, I deadass thought they were real, and I know AI slop bad, but the fact that we're living to see the beginning of the end is pretty fucking awesome. Not in the traditional sense, but like how watching a house burn down is pretty awesome. But you know, since we're really being honest, most of it is in fact one-dimensional slop. If you've seen any AI clips or short films, you'll know that though they might look good at first glance, one can quickly notice these scenes are about as complex as a block of wood. And in the case of animation, where you're generating several frames, oftentimes there's very little correlation with each image. It's clear to see it's not good for anything too complicated, or that requires heavy iteration. It's mostly just an advanced proof of concept machine, so if you're looking to replace an entire animation production team just by asking nicely, then you're shit out of luck. High quality animation production studios have way too many complexities for an artificial intelligence to accurately replicate on its own. Though AI might supplement animated media within the near future, it doesn't have the ability to fully replace real animators. And that's because of the nature of how it's made. This is going to be a highly oversimplified explanation, but for context. Basically, most AI are either large language, diffusion, or vision-based models, and they train off of a dataset. That dataset being their own custom training data or your custom training data. It takes all that info, munches it up, and shits it out in a general idea of whatever is prompted. Training data is analyzed image by image, and things within the image are categorized. In the case of analyzing video, it's still broken up frame by frame. But the problem is, only so much can be understood from one image. The AI can understand what's in the image, but it doesn't understand the correlation between the images. And also, deciphering motion needs a sense of intention, spatial awareness, object permanence, and natural human swagger. There's an undeniable feeling and motion that AI is nowhere near achieving. And I think that's the main reason why I and a lot of other people are able to notice the unnaturally smooth and floaty look AI produces. Compared to the real Studio Ghibli, the difference is clear as day. Ghibli is more than just a bunch of blended up images and videos. It's a style and motion, story and characters. It's a feeling. No, I'm talking literally. You could feel where the characters are by the subtle details of how they're animated. For example, this scene in Howl's Moving Castle where Howl's Moving Castle is moving. You can see it jostles and tips around. And I love how the castle also moves around with the same gusto and energy as a fat elderly dog. It's not just Ghibli, but any skilled animator is able to seamlessly mix style and motion in ways that are impossible to create with the current AI models. That human complexity is especially evident in combat. Look, I could go into a whole video on why AI is dog shit at fight scenes. But in short, complex combat, especially in anime, is a difficulty for AI because it requires a pretty deep understanding of the fluid, believable body mechanics, and nuanced timing and clear visual communication. AI often struggles to preserve momentum across frames and ensure every movement feels purposeful. Additionally, great combat relies on emotional weight and character-driven decisions. All that on top of the nuanced complexities of an artist's style are something an AI can't intuitively grasp without human guidance. Here, check out this scene in FLCO, where the combat actually isn't as complex because they're mostly just using guns, but it's in a style that I think would be especially difficult for AI to replicate. In this scene, Haruko is in an intense gunfight, turning into basically abstract shapes, then hitting these strong and well-timed key poses, which there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of them, before fucking blowing these goons away at this crazy low angle, utilizing fucking 3 impact frames. There's so much expression, not only in the characters' faces, but also in the dynamic poses and these abstract effects. Like, look at this dude, he's not even looking where he's shooting, and I didn't even notice this, but there's like a little rat that falls in after him, which is such a cute little detail. Look, he's like farting or something. Aww. Another quick example of human superiority can be found in Sword of the Stranger, especially the final fight scene. When you watch this, notice how they use the environment as well as techniques to try to get the upper hand. Which, I might add, the current AI models would probably have a very difficult time replicating, considering its inability to do certain things. There's so much going on with the characters as well as the background, but there's still this sense of clarity and weight, all brilliantly layered on top of each other. You know what, let's take a break from the real art for a second. I can feel the AI bros clicking off. So, Google's new AI VO3 came out recently, and it's apparently really good. Let's have a quick palate cleanser to see how the latest AI action scenes compare. Let's watch this. Alright. Okay.
Here I come, you punk.
Oh my god, the punch sound effects.
And a
Oh,
huge
damn.
slam attempt. What a reversal. He's got him in a dominant position and he's unleashing strikes.
Definitely unleashing strikes. Okay. You know, so far not that bad. Oh god. No, I need a chaser. Yeah. That's good stuff. Look, real animation is more than just a visual style. If you ignore the style and focus on the motion, it's clear to see that real animators have a fine understanding of the environment, characters, and objects within a scene. There's intention to every detail. The animator wants us to see certain things because it's important to either the character's development or the overall story. And AI shows us the most likely outcome. A great action scene tells us something. In this scene from Jujutsu Kaisen made by Vert Creek, we know that Maki has no cursed energy and needs to be crafty in order to get past Miwa's simple domain. She does so by throwing 2 projectiles, the first one breaking the domain and the second one giving her time for her next attack. In this scene in One Piece, made by Bahi JD, we can understand that Luffy's Gear 5 form allows for his ability to not only affect him, but also the environment. In this scene from Chainsaw Man, animated by Yen BM, we can see that Denji continues to fight recklessly against the Leech Devil, even though he can't get that chainsaw thang up. It happens to a lot of guys. They got pills for that type of stuff. Individual animators alone have too many intricacies to copy, let alone an entire animation studio, which needs directors, writers, designers, sound designers, and editors, all of which needs a human to adapt and communicate with each other to create a highly specific product. Yes, all those things can definitely be supplemented by AI, but completely replacing them would be fucking stupid, because each piece needs to be incredibly specific in order for it to work with another piece. And if one of those pieces are wrong, or there's some sort of fucking copyright issue with it, then the whole thing fucking falls apart. AI diffuses shit into a full image. If you ever tried asking for a slight edit, it spits out something completely different because it doesn't understand the individual parts of what it creates or what is acceptable to current day media standards. And that's another thing. There are some really unacceptable, terrible things being made by AI. but they're usually like 10% human made and 90% AI made. But when things start being made by AI alone, who's gonna take responsibility for all of it? The tech bros responsible for its conception sure aren't, and probably never will. So who gets the slap on the bum? The closest thing to a full AI production was rock paper scissors, but even then it needed the entire corridor crew. For the most part, they're at least the creators, meaning they take ownership over the video if anything happens to it. But for things like the Lord of the Rings in the style of Studio Ghibli, which needed the entire Lord of the Rings trailer, not to mention all the stolen training data from Studio Ghibli, like who takes ownership over the trailer if there's no clear creator? AI has so many ethical problems around its conception. Most diffusion and vision-based models are built on stolen property, which is honestly pretty consistent with America. We kind of started this whole thing on stolen property. But seriously, who takes responsibility for all this stolen shit? It just causes so many problems. If nobody's taking responsibility for all the stolen work, then I mean, I guess I don't have to take responsibility for this vial of poison. Check out these other videos about AI poison, by the way. I forgot to mention it, but you know, this video is getting kind of long. But it's good stuff. Good for protecting against all that pesky AI scraping. Anyways, we got to be honest about AI. Like I said, I'm not completely opposed to it. If the rapidly approaching automated shitstorm is truly imminent and there's shit fucking everywhere, then you better believe I'm making a shit snowman. I don't think I want to play in shit. AI excels at repetitive, boring, low creativity tasks, so I'm open to it doing just that. I even regularly use ChatGPT and Grok on a weekly basis for things like summing up random ideas, grammar, and general research. It sure has a lot of cons, but it definitely has a lot of pros too. And in general, AI is an overall plus to humanity. In terms of animation, I'd be fine with using it for inputting or even for coloring, but it's not even that useful for that. There's a Swamp John video, which you should definitely go watch, that covers a lot of the AI in-betweening tools, but the sum of the video, it seems like the only good one isn't as intuitive as asking nicely and isn't really worth the price for casual use. It just can't do a lot of simple things I'm asking for. And on top of that, I'd be more open to using it in my process if it didn't take away from my enjoyment. The issue is I enjoy almost all of it. Shoot, I've been animating for my whole life, and the times where I get paid for it are few and far in between. So it's clear I'm not doing it for the money. I do other things for money. Anyways, I personally don't use AI a lot for art because it's mostly useless, but also because art and animation are far more than just a product, but a part of another human being's personality that they've slowly cultivated for years in privacy, or unfortunately in a lot of cases isolation. It's stories and characters which were probably based on real lessons and people in that artist's life. There is meaning behind every single detail, but what meaning could there possibly be behind this? When I truly experience a good piece of media or art, I can't help but dive deep into it. Who made it? What part of themselves were so sensitive that they'd rather hide it in a picture, a song, or a poem, or even in a handwritten note? When I see what you've made, I want to see you, all of you. But to be honest, it's all subjective in the end, I guess. I have no problem with its use, and I really can't stop everyone from using it either. But if you do end up utilizing AI, then at least be honest with yourself and others. Know why, when, where, and how you used it. Know that you're missing out on the highly complex human factors as well as the enjoyment of creation. If you call yourself an AI artist and your process consists of just typing in a highly detailed wish list, know that you are nowhere near an artist. You're not like us at all. For those who are tempted to quit art because you'll get replaced by AI, then very valid. Those who can adapt will probably get replaced. Everyone will continue to say, stop doing art and go work at McDonald's, and we will slowly become a dying breed as the times pass. But to be honest, has that ever stopped us? The most artist thing to do in a world which is constantly against us is just to continue to create. Because art is not a product for consumption. It's a byproduct of living. But anyways, I gotta get out of here. It's been me, Fluke. Yeah, I'll see you later. Hello all to whoever stayed near the end. I'm gonna try to make this as snappy as I can. The 3.5 months between now and my last video have been a rough and wacky one. I moved from California to Florida. I've been on the most desperate hunt for a job, which has been quite fruitless. I've been pursuing legal action against my old roommate, and I've been learning the esoteric arts of Blender so I could finally end my abusive relationship with Adobe Animate. I really hope you liked the video, because it's my first full animation using Blender. Anyways, I don't know why I went so hard on this video. I want to continue doing the animation for this channel, but we're definitely going to have to simplify the style in the future. After all, I'm the only guy working on these, and my time is short. Anyways, I gotta go. I gotta find a real job. Unless...